Red and gold carries a different kind of weight today. The 49ers family is mourning Aldon Smith, a devastating talent whose time in the Bay left behind historic numbers and memories that stretch across generations. And while Santa Clara processes that loss, football still keeps demanding answers. A proven veteran could come into the picture. An unexpected battle is building inside the defensive line, and one rookie already has people talking after OTAs. Subscribe to 49ers Express. Today we're talking with respect, honesty, and heart. Certain news stops every conversation about roster depth, competition, or championship windows. The death of Aldon Smith at only 36 years old is one of those moments. Before we talk about the player who terrified quarterbacks, we have to recognize the pain being felt by the Smith family, his friends, former teammates, and everyone who truly knew him. The 49ers statement focused on that human side of Aldon. Beyond his extraordinary talent, they remembered the infectious smile that lit up every room he entered. For anyone who lived through that era, the football memories hit with tremendous force. San Francisco selected Aldon 7th overall in the 2011 NFL Draft, and he did not need much time to show everybody that something rare had arrived. He recorded 14 sacks as a rookie, the second highest total by a rookie since sacks became an official NFL statistic in 1982. Then came 19.5 sacks in his second season, still the highest single-season total in 49ers history. Through his first 2 years, he had 33.5. No player in league history had ever opened a career with more over that span. But even numbers that ridiculous cannot fully explain what he did to an offense. Aldon attacked the pocket with a combination of length, explosion, and violent technique that changed how an entire offensive line had to operate. Tackles knew they could not be laid out of their stance. Quarterbacks felt their internal clock speeding up. And when that defense lined up Aldon Smith beside Justin Smith, it always felt like the opposing offense could fall apart at any second. He recorded 44 sacks in 50 games with the 49ers. He also appeared in 8 postseason games and added another 5.5 sacks. He earned first-team All-Pro honors in 2012 and was selected to the Pro Bowl in 2013. That was real dominance, not unrealized potential. During that run, Aldon helped bring fear, identity, and national respect back to a defense carrying massive expectations. His life away from football included public struggles and difficult chapters. But today is not the moment to turn those battles into a footnote or pretend an entire life can fit inside one simple narrative. This is the moment to remember the young man who arrived from Missouri, the teammate the organization described with genuine affection, and the defender who delivered one of the most remarkable starts to a career the NFL has ever seen. Aldon Smith belonged to a generation that brought pride roaring back to the faithful. His story ended far too soon. His impact, both on and beyond the field, remains. Rest in peace, Aldon. The Bay Area will not forget you. After something this heavy, shifting back to football requires a different breath. But the next story raises a question Santa Clara should absolutely be considering. If Cam Jordan doesn't finalize a return to New Orleans, should the 49ers call immediately? I'm not talking about making a 36-year-old veteran the centerpiece of the defense. And I'm not suggesting San Francisco has already made an offer. This connection comes from the logic of the market. The Saints have offered Jordan a deal, but nothing has been finalized. As long as he remains available, every contender needing more depth off the edge has a reason to monitor the situation. And very few destinations would make this much sense. Cam Jordan played all 17 games in 2025 and finished with 10.5 sacks. That matters because this is not just a famous name trying to stretch out his career. This is an experienced defender who returned to meaningful production, knows how to attack veteran tackles, can set the edge against the run, and can still wreck a drive when he gets the right matchup. The 49ers would not need him to play every down. That is exactly what makes the fit so intriguing. Nick Bosa would remain the player who changes an opponent's protection plan. Michael Williams would still have room to develop. Osa Odigizua could generate pressure inside. Jordan could work within a controlled rotation, preserve his energy, and enter when experience, strength, and recognition matter most. 3rd and 8, final drive, a tight game in January. Those are the snaps where a veteran like Jordan can justify the entire signing. There is also an emotional difference between staying with a franchise going through a rebuild and joining one that enters the season expected to compete. Jordan has spent his entire career in New Orleans, so his connection to the Saints carries real weight. But if he wants one more serious shot at a ring, San Francisco offers a different kind of conversation. Important pieces on defense, immediate ambition, and a role that would not ask him to carry the pass rush alone. The price and expectations would have to be right. An oversized contract would be difficult to defend. Treating Jordan like a permanent solution would also be a mistake. But if the market creates an opportunity for a short, reasonable deal, the Niners should explore it. Championship rosters do not wait for a problem to appear before searching for an answer. They build options before injuries, fatigue, and bad matchups send the bill. For now, this possibility is based on fit, not confirmed movement from San Francisco. Still, the longer Jordan remains unsigned, the more closely that door deserves to be watched. Adding a player coming off 10.5 sacks to a rotation already featuring Bosa would not be empty luxury. It would be a calculated bet for those nights when one pressure separates the promise of contending from a real chance to finish the job. Cam Jordan would bring experience from the outside. Gracen Halton brings a potentially more uncomfortable kind of pressure. Competition coming from inside the building, forcing recent draft picks to prove they still deserve their place. When the 49ers selected Halton in the 4th round at number 107, many people saw him as one of the best values in a heavily debated class. San Francisco had given the Oklahoma defender a 3rd-round grade, and his profile explains the excitement. Halton is not the biggest defensive tackle in the room, but he plays with explosion, a quick first step, and the ability to shoot through gaps before blockers can get organized. In a defensive line coached by Chris Kocurek, that gets noticed immediately. But an opportunity for one rookie creates pressure for somebody else. In this case, Alfred Collins and C.J. West. Both players were drafted in 2025. Collins came in as a 2nd-round pick, naturally carrying higher expectations. He flashed at times as a rookie, including that forced fumble against the Rams, but he has not yet delivered the kind of season that ends the conversation about his starting role. West, a 4th-round pick, also failed to establish enough of a presence to enter 2026 with a protected spot. Halton now enters as a legitimate contender for snaps alongside Osa Odigizua, the biggest addition to the interior defensive line. If Osa holds the most consistent role, one starting position and the rotation behind it remain open. Collins should begin with the advantage because of his experience, draft investment, and familiarity. But a May advantage means nothing once protections start breaking down in August. Halton offers something this defense desperately needs: interior penetration. Pressure up the middle compresses the pocket, prevents quarterbacks from stepping forward comfortably, and creates better lanes for the edge rushers. The rookie does not need to become a star overnight. If he can win quickly, execute stunts with precision, and force guards to react to his first step, he already changes the math of the defensive front. There is still a fair challenge waiting for him. Halton must prove his explosiveness can survive against the size and strength of NFL blockers, OT, as can reveal movement, conditioning, and understanding of the system. They cannot show who will hold up against a double team once the pads come on. Training camp is where this battle stops being an interesting projection and starts carrying real consequences. The message for Collins is direct. Pedigree does not guarantee the job. West has even less room for error, and the 49ers should not view any of this as a problem. A team with February ambitions needs to create competition, especially within a unit that cannot rely only on Nick Bosa to disrupt opposing offenses. Halton has not passed anyone yet, but he arrived with enough tools to make that possibility legitimate. If the rookie's impact carries over when contact begins, the number 107 pick will not merely look like good draft value. It could reorganize the entire defensive line before week 1. If Halton is threatening to change the order inside, Romello Height is creating a different reaction off the edge. It is the kind of excitement that shows up when a defensive line coach tries to stay cautious but cannot hide what he has seen. Chris Kocurek praised the rookie's speed, athleticism, explosion off the line, and natural pass rushing ability. That kind of praise would carry weight for any defender. Coming from Kocurek, who works daily on hand placement, angles, and acceleration, it means even more. Height was drafted in the 3rd round to chase quarterbacks, and his early offseason work suggests he already understands his clearest path onto the field. His first step could change everything. An edge rusher who explodes before the tackle gets set forces the entire protection to react differently. The blocker opens his hips earlier, retreats with urgency, and starts respecting the outside speed. That creates opportunities for inside moves, stunts, and combined pressures. Even when the sack does not come, the threat changes the structure of the play. That is how Height can influence games without starting or playing 50 snaps. His early role appears specific. Enter on 3rd down, attack obvious passing situations, and turn limited opportunities into decisive moments. That puts more pressure on every snap, but it also lets the rookie focus first on what he does best without forcing him to master every responsibility against the run immediately. There is a real need behind the excitement. Nick Bosa will continue drawing chips, tight ends and protections sliding in his direction. This defense needs someone capable of punishing offenses when they commit too many resources to stopping Bosa. If Height starts winning early from the opposite side, opposing coordinators lose the comfort of an easy solution. They will have to choose which unfavorable matchup they are willing to accept. The reason this cannot become a premature celebration is simple. They have not practiced in pads yet. Kocurek acknowledged that himself. Moving explosively during OTAs is encouraging. Maintaining that advantage when an NFL tackle lands his hands, controls your chest, and carries you around the arc is a different challenge. Training camp and the preseason will reveal whether Height's speed only looks impressive in space or actually works against professional blocking. Even with that caution, the beginning matters. Kyle Shanahan canceled minicamp after perfect OTA attendance and the work the group had already completed. Height leaves this phase with confidence, public recognition from his coach, and a clearly defined role waiting for him. Faithful, I want to take the temperature of the Bay. Does Romello Height already deserve to be the first edge rusher in the rotation behind the starters, or do you need to see him win in pads before buying into the hype? Drop your read in the comments. I'm excited for the right reason. Not because a no-contact offseason created a star, but because the trait that convinced San Francisco to draft him appeared early, exactly where it needed to appear. If that first step survives contact, Height can become much more than a situational piece. He could be the young defender who brings speed, unpredictability, and fear back to the 49ers pass rush. Today, the 49ers defense appeared across different generations. Aldon Smith took us back to an era of dominance and left behind a painful absence. Cam Jordan represents experience that could still be added. Gracen Halton and Romello Height represent young players fighting to claim their place right now. Together, these stories remind us that red and gold is built on memory, renewal, and responsibility. We honor those who made this uniform matter, and we demand that the next generation carry that tradition forward. Leave your tribute to Aldon in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to 49ers Express. Raised in the Bay, built by red and gold.